the ball straight, run up.
Now he angles it somewhat. Barkadash!
Where do I start? It's been up and down.
I remember being a kid.
I can see that happening.
That's something, there's always something to do.
The Unlaced.
Unlaced podcast. It's actually not bad.
And we're back, everyone. The Unlaced podcast 2022. I know we took a little bit of a break. I'm going to be honest. I needed it. So did my boy Ethan over there. But we're back. 2022 is going to be big. You know, sort of the end of last year, we did some vlogs, some pretty cool stuff. We're going to do more collaborations this year and definitely get more listener engagement across the show, which we want to do. This first episode, though, I'm not going to lie, like I was excited for the year, but holy fuck, I'm excited now even more because this first episode's big. And a lot of people that know me on this show, I haven't spoken too much about it, but people that know me personally know that I love my cryptocurrency, the NFT space. It's a crazy space at the moment. And obviously sport is something I'm passionate about, which is why this episode is going to be like a little bit of a perfect marriage because I'm joined by some absolute legends. Three of the Melbourne Storm favourites in Kenny Bromwich, Ryan Pappenhausen, and also Jerome Hughes. And, of course, second time on the show for my boy, NRL. Boys, how are we?
Good, brother.
Right.
Mate, it's good to have everyone on. I wanted to start with you, Kenny, because I know you guys had a bit of a training camp down in Geelong. But how was that, man? Like, is that grueling? Like, we don't really see much of it, but I assume from what I've heard, it's a pretty tough camp.
Yeah, it's a pretty full on time there. Like, I think they squeezed a lot of work, probably about a month, I reckon, to 2 weeks. So they got us starting early mornings and finishing late at night, and they fit in quite a few field sessions and gym sessions. So it was pretty good. I think we get a lot out of it as a team, and sort of fast tracks our fitness levels and stuff like that too.
Perhaps is it kind of like, is it training for like rugby, or is it actually like a bit of like a boot camp kind of vibe as well?
Feels like a boot camp at times, but there's a lot of training that goes on, and probably a lot of off-field meetings as well in regards to sort of culture, things around how we want to go about the year, and just sort of honing in on that, just so everyone's on board. And like Kenny said, we're sort of in each other's pockets for 2 weeks, so it sort of builds that friendship, camaraderie, I guess you'd call it. But that's what it's all about. Like I said, fitting sort of a month of training and getting to know each other in the 2 weeks. And the training's not easy either, so it's pretty grueling, tough, long days, but you're better off for it.
Yeah, I bet. Shandor, do you miss being at those things at all, or are you kind of content with not having to go through that shit anymore?
Oh, mate, I miss the boys and footy and that, but I do not miss boarding school Geelong camp. I'll tell you that.
Yeah, I spoke
Definitely not. Boys, did you finish with the hill session or not?
Nah.
Mate.
We're a bit smarter this year, bro. Like, we went.
I mean, it's good to hear, but
Yeah, I think
that hurts.
with COVID and all that, bro, like, we don't know how long or how many sessions we're actually going to be able to train together. So we're just trying to utilise that time to get the footy in the hands.
love that. Thanks for COVID.
And
It was a session of doom, though. It was 3.5 hours, I reckon.
really,
Oh,
far out, man. Are you guys on hands and knees after that, or is it like you're kind of at a stage where you can get through it fine? They're pointing at Jerome.
I'm like cradled up into a little ball. I'm not hands and feet.
Fetal position, bro. No way.
Yeah, that's bad. So.
That's crazy.
it's a lot of weight to carry around up top, you know.
Yeah, I bet. Man, one thing when I had the door on, I don't know how long you're on. Might have been a year ago now, man. But one thing you spoke of to me, and obviously I'm a Storm fan, being a Melbourne boy, was like, and you can kind of see it with you guys now. The relationship was like the culture of Storm, and there's kind of like this feeling outside of the club that a lot of people aren't in there, so they don't actually know. But we constantly hear like the culture of the club, something special. Like for people to leave, and we'll maybe touch on Kenny a little bit, but like it's a big decision, and a lot of people that have been there for a long time, and they love the club. Can you give us like, and collectively, whoever wants to take this first, but like, what do you guys mean by that? Like, why is it so special there? And obviously people speak about it so much, as I said.
I just think the history of the club, started most of it. Like, it's not something when I come from the Cowboys, I didn't get a lesson on it or whatever. It was just the way, people presented themselves, not just at training or at games as outside of footy as well. So it just, I feel like it just brings everyone closer as well. Just the way that people, welcome me in when I first got here, and how we try welcome the new boys now at the moment. So just brings that good feel around, around the club, and I think it's just started from way back, from when the older guys started, and the people that first done it. It's just come through since now. So it's pretty special, at this club.
That's cool, man. It's something about the Storm as well. Like, and I'll be honest, like as I said before we jumped on air, like I'm a soccer guy, but I love my AFL. But there's something about when you live in Melbourne, like you just become fucking territorial over Melbourne Storm. Like when you guys obviously beat Penrith a couple of years ago, and Paps just ran the house down, and Clive Churchill medalists and all that. Like I was so passionate, and then last year it's like the heartbreak. I'm like, man, I don't even watch like this sport all the time, and it's just something about the Storm, the collective. Like when you're a Melbourne team. Obviously, that the faithful is pretty crazy. Like, have you guys found playing in front of the fans at home? Is that like a big advantage, being sort of that like one team state? Does that sort of assist you guys a little bit?
Tough question. I've probably only played a handful of games there at Melbourne. Obviously, after 2 years, but
yeah,
you do feel a sense of responsibility, I guess, to play well. It's the only team in the state, and probably goes back to sort of how you enter the club and the stories told you back then as well. We've got it pretty easy now. When Melbourne first started out, no one knew what rugby league was, and those guys back in the day in 98, 99, they sort of put us on the map, winning a premiership early, creating success. And like you said, I think Melbourne's a very sporty town, and if you're successful, they'll get in the back of you. And I think we just sort of got that standard to uphold now, and that's sort of what drives a few of us is just trying to make people before us proud and uphold that standard that Melbourne has. So you have that feeling when you run out into Amy Park, and the fans are pretty passionate. So they'll let you know if you had a good game or a bad game. But,
yeah, I bet.
Regardless, they're really loud, and it's definitely an advantage playing out of there.
Yeah, awesome, man. And I do want to just touch on last season before we move on to some of the cool stuff that I mentioned at the start of the episode. But, Rome, I can't not talk about last season and not talk about you, man. It was like arguably one of the best seasons you've ever had. You were insane. I think Members Player of the Year, Player of the Year. Like, was that sort of like a bit of a surreal moment for you, sort of achieving that? I mean, did you expect it going into the season? Because watching you were just, like, it was electric the whole season, bro.
Yeah, thanks, mate. No, I didn't really expect it or anything. I don't know. It's hard to explain. Like, there's nothing more that I've done that I haven't done in the past. But I think a lot of it just comes back down to confidence in myself. Probably struggled with that early days at the Storm, and the players at the club and Craig have put all their trust in me, and they said they backed me, and it just sort of gave me that bit of confidence. And then coming off premiership year as well. If that doesn't give you confidence, I don't know what else will. So
yeah,
I sort of just ran with that confidence, and I think that's part of the reason why I had a pretty good season. But yeah, it was cool, I guess, winning those awards. But I swapped them into the.
I know, man. I can imagine that must have hurt, because the Penrith and Storm battles at the moment, they're like it's the game to watch every year for the past few years. And credit Penrith where credit's due, but. I honestly felt like you guys, that the whole season were just unbelievable, and it was probably one of the games wasn't the best performance in the final, but nonetheless, knowing you guys, knowing the Storm culture, it's kind of a bit of a scary thing, because it's like, well, they're going to bounce back and they're going to be more hungry than ever. Is that kind of the feeling internally? Like, did that one hurt so much that you guys are like, no, we got to get back there, we got to go again?
Pretty much. Like every year, we want to. We've got to strive for, that premiership. But, yeah, just going off such a good year, and, the way it ended was probably, not the ideal situation. And obviously a few things went wrong, but, credit to Penrith, they played well, and even in their grand final, they deserved to win as well. So, but, we started fresh. We've tried to, we looked at what we done wrong last year and try to move on from that and start again this year, and, create a whole new story there.
Yeah, agreed, man. One of the things I've found as well watching NRL, which to be honest, I actually really admire, because it's like, it's just honest, It's out there, it's transparent. And I think it's different to other sports, particularly AFL, is when people are coming to sort of the last year of their contract, and obviously the game's a business. You've got to make moves early. Clubs are coming in for you. Like AFL, that stuff's very hidden. I feel like NRL, it's very transparent. Like, for instance, Kenny, your situation, but we saw it last year with, Josh Addo-Carr, and obviously this year again with sort of Brandon Smith and your bro moving on at the end of the season. Is it sort of not difficult, but I mean, what's the sort of headspace, playing one more year with your brothers at Storm and then knowing that you're going to be leaving? Is it kind of hard at the same time because you're going to be leaving a club you've known for so long? As I think you've been there for like almost 10 years, man.
Yeah, it was a very hard decision. I think I just really wanted to continue playing with my brother and sort of do what's right for my family. But at the same time, I was torn between like trying to choose about two things I really care about so much, and I think telling the boys that was one of the hardest things I've done in a long time. Telling them that I'll be moving away at the end of the year, and I think it was a hard time telling them that I'm leaving because you just care about the place so much. I've been there since a young fella, like 16, 17 years old, and I've sort of lived half of my life here, and it's all I've known. So it was hard, but it is what it is. Now I'm trying to finish off this year with a bang and do the best I can, and I'll be doing that every day, and then leading into the season with all my training and playing. So I'm excited for this year.
Congrats, bro, man. Well, it's a hard one for me to swallow as a fan, but yeah, congrats, man. I'm sure it's going to be an exciting time. The Dolphins look like they're building a pretty big squad. I don't know about you three boys, man, but following Shandor, man, for me is like watching a roller coaster of just like businesses. I'm like, I sit there and on my story, I'm like watching like a TV show of someone who's just like logistically everywhere. Bro, Thor, how are you doing this for one? And like, do you have a PA? Because like you probably do need one.
Oh, bro, do I need one? I would love one. I don't know. Mate, I'm surviving a little bit at the moment. I do need to focus on a couple of things, but like I'm just enjoying diving into stuff and being involved and taking opportunities. And if you look at everything I do, it's all teams. I'm not hunting projects by myself. I like doing things with people I care about, and things that I'm passionate about. So I really enjoy that. Like, this is a great example. 4 Point, the Dead Diamond Society. I love that camaraderie. I love like setting a goal and then achieving it, and we constantly seem to keep doing that in all the different businesses and opportunities. So it's good fun for me, just doing stuff I love.
Yeah, man, I bet. And for those that didn't hear my first podcast with Shandor, we won't go into it today because we touched on his whole journey and career, which is just insane. But like for the boys, obviously from the Storm, who aren't in your position, who aren't sort of finished the game and sort of content with retirement, have you kind of got to a space now, because you've got so much going on, that you're sort of stimulated by the other stuff and it's not footy that's driving you like it probably used to?
Yeah, you know what, bro, if you really look at it, I'm probably like trying to make up for the loss of sports,
The five businesses.
It gives you competition. It gives you like that same thrill. You're around, like you're in a team. So I'm probably like trying to substitute that a little bit. But no, I definitely am. Like I've had my time. I've done my thing. Although it wasn't the fairy tale, it was a bit of a roller coaster, but I'm proud of what I was able to do. And then, finish at the Storm but just be a part of that. It's life changing for me. It'll set me up for everything else I want to do, really. So, just grateful and good to be in the position I am now.
Yeah, man, I bet. And as I touched on, like when I was obviously in a joking manner, like watching your stories and like this, it's like watching TV, but in the sense of one of the latest things you've been like pumping and going hard on is air locker training. And that's obviously a pretty new venture for you, which is kind of like franchising everywhere in Australia pretty quickly. For the listeners who aren't across it, who aren't across the franchise of what it is, can you give us a bit of background on what it is and also how you became involved in it?
Yeah, it's super exciting. I mean, just from a nerdy business perspective, which I know you'll appreciate, Jake, going from a small business owner to developing and building out a franchise, it's like night and day, So there's a lot to it. But the last year, even given COVID, one of those people, and there's many that have kind of benefited through the COVID situation. I was just head down, learned a lot from both business and personal growth. And now we're at the forefront of a big opportunity launch a new fitness franchise in the space with this huge point of differentiation, which is altitude training. So we have all the modalities that people love and enjoy: boxing, genuine strength training, conditioning, performance. But the environment, there's nothing that's been more scientifically backed and researched. And to get your best possible results, you want to be training in altitude. So I do the programming. So that's exciting. That's ticking off another box I'm really passionate about. But it's the opportunity to have a platform to impact people, but now on a massive scale, all over Australia, New Zealand, and hopefully soon to be international. Very exciting opportunity, and just loving the process.
Man, it's awesome. Can you give us because I want to share a story about my own experience with altitude training. I'm not sure if the boys from the Storm had done it, but can you give a bit of insight into the benefits that people get out of altitude training that might obviously be different to some of the other franchises where they're obviously not in altitude and so forth?
Yeah, for sure. Well, funnily enough, this all started in the 1960 Mexico Olympics. They went to Mexico, and I think they've got an altitude level of about 28 to 2,900 meters above sea level. So it's a fair impact. I've actually been there and did some training, and I noticed it. But that had a massive impact on the Olympic Games. The longer aerobic conditioning sports, your long distance running, it was super detrimental for them. So they suffered. But because of the lower oxygen in the air, the speed sports had better times, better records, better performances. So this is where the study started. It's like, what is this altitude training? How can it have a massive impact and effect? So the study, the science, the research began, and the best athletes in the world, UFC, Olympians, swimmers, rugby league, everyone. AFL is prominent in the AFL, as you know. They've utilised altitude training to increase their performance. Now, typically you have terrestrial, which is outside. What we do is simulated altitude training. So it's not a chamber. You come in, there's no pressure. You notice a slight adjustment to your breathing. But in our workouts, a couple of the key things that happen is the environment supports your hard work. So as I said, it's the best possible chance to get results. In our workouts, you burn 30% more calories than you would at sea level, and you get about a 30% performance increase marker. So my goal is to come in every session and try and work at 80, 90, 100% of what I could do at sea level. Wow. And get that 30% performance increase. So those are the two main things. There's obviously your conditioning levels. As the oxygen lowers, your red blood cell increases, and you get better at utilizing oxygen. So many good things. Finish with a big endorphin rush, big hormonal rush that comes to the altitude, and you just have to experience it in a commercial setting where it's the first of its kind. And it's just so cool to have a program purpose built around altitude. It's really cool. So can't wait for it to come to Melbourne. I think it's going to do really well. Obviously, as you know, there's a lot of credibility, a lot of understanding around altitude because of the AFL. So we've got 5 sold. They should open by mid-year, and I can't wait to see the first studio open.
The door, man. You're the man, honestly. Perhaps, Roman, Kenny, have you guys done any sort of altitude training before? Have you guys experienced that or tasted it in your sort of Storm pre-seasons or whatever it may be?
No, when I was at the Titans, they had a chamber there, and we used to have treaties and that in there. But I can't.
You guys trained in Collingwood? Have they ever turned the altitude on in Collingwood?
Yeah. Oh yeah, no, I went in there too. Actually, yeah. They had bikes.
They got a good one. They got a big one.
Oh, yeah.
But that's the other thing, Jacob. What was actually only accessible to the elite athlete in high performance environment is now available to everyone. That's awesome. If there's a takeaway, that's the most exciting thing.
Awesome, bro. Yeah, well,
and so for guys like Paps, if you like to train in F45, it's cool, but you need the altitude.
Hey, Paps, isn't you an ambassador or something? Aren't you? That's a conflict of interest there.
Yeah, I mean, Ian Locker, I know, is what it is. If you train hard, you'll see the results.
Yeah, there you go.
That's it. Respect. We like all forms of training.
No, but I just wanted to share this story because my experience, was in 2011, and I was going to the Under-20 World Cup with, obviously, the national team, and we were playing in Colombia, of all places, and we had a really tough group. And, it would have been...
High altitude.
Yeah, 3 months out, and... we were like, fuck, we need to get fit. We had Spain, Ecuador, and Costa Rica in our group. And football-wise, they're probably going to be better. So we need to be fit as fuck. So the strength and conditioning coach was like, he wanted to take us to Denver for a 3-week training camp. And I remember the first week, man, just finding it hard to breathe. I felt almost like blood vessels in my skin, my arms and stuff were pulsating while I was training. I was like, what the hell? Anyway, we went through the tournament. We got battered. Came home. And I started training here, and man, I was just so fit. Like so fit,
Yeah.
like a normal standard run. It was like almost like my lungs had more capacity to breathe, or I don't know, my blood cells, the blood was flowing better, or something of that nature. And it just kind of twisted my head a little bit of like, fuck, maybe there's some real benefits there. So it's interesting. When I saw you in, I was like, man, that's going to fly, bro. That's going to be awesome.
Yeah, it's very cool. And now, as you said, to take that out of the elite space and high performance and make it accessible for everyone commercially, it's very cool. So just everyone just needs to experience what the training is like and what the potential results are like. On top of that, you know, as you know, something that's forefront for is trying to build that community and culture and the experience for everyone as well. So if we can combine those two, get everyone inside a studio, I think it's going to be a great success, and just really looking forward to what's ahead.
Yeah, man. Before I jump into 4 Point, because that's obviously one area I really do want to talk about. Paps, man, I can't stop looking at that mullet, bro. It's gorgeous. Like,
Does look good.
where did this hairstyle come from? And like, have you realized now, if you cut that, like, how many people are going to be gutted? Like, how many people are going to be like hurt by you just shaving your hair the way you want to? Like, it's going to impact some lives, I think.
Yeah, I was actually having a laugh with someone about this the other day. I reckon half my third-party agreements are due to the mullet.
That's gold.
My personality is not great, and I'm not a very fun person, so that's what I attribute it to. But it started a while back. Started a while back, and just sort of grew from there. I got a bit of a following, and just felt like I had to keep it. It was a good luck charm originally, then last year was a bit of a shit show. And yeah, I don't know. I just have it, and probably puts a bit more weight on the scales when I hop on as well. So that makes performance staff happy, I guess. But yeah, that's where I'm with it now. It's sort of a little niche, and it's good to see so many people getting on the mullet train, and I don't know what to do with it next. But,
yeah, because you're quick. Like, you're one of your real strengths. Like, there's so many, but one of your real strengths is like your speed. Like, you're quick as fuck, bro. It's crazy. But like the mullet, bro, does that hold you back? Like, do you feel that when you run, like when you're going that high speed, or is it just like? Because for me, I'm like, I'd be like Jerome, man. I'd wear that helmet, and like, there's no sense of air that's holding me back because I'm not quick, you know.
The helmet.
Yeah.
Rome's actually the original Mully man. He had the mullet.
No way.
No. He had the stallion. Remember, that's what he used to call it.
Yeah,
That's crazy.
no, it doesn't hold me back. I don't think I'll wear a helmet, but
Yeah.
it's getting pretty long.
Oh, I love that. Well, let's jump into 4 Point, because you boys are obviously there at the clubhouse, the studio where you kind of, you know, run the business. But
Have a look at it.
it's gorgeous,
Love
man.
it.
I said that before we jumped on. I'm like, where the hell are they? And for those listening, by the way, while we're doing this on Zoom, is because we're respecting the COVID protocols of obviously the business that the boys are in. But can you guys explain to the listeners, and even myself that are a little bit averse to what 4 Point Collectibles is, I guess a little bit around the business of what it is, and then how it came to you four boys combining to build that?
Go on, Ken.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. So at the start, we got smacked from COVID, and we were sort of just like in lockdown, just communicating, and then we sort of got stuck into just buying cards and all that sort of stuff. And we're just really enjoying ourselves, just going over like having like a Zoom, just talking about what sort of cards we get in, joining all these breaks and all that stuff. And when we started joining all these breaks, we were like, bro, this is actually pretty cool.
Yeah.
And we were just like, bro, we could definitely do something like this with a little spin to it, like put our own little like make things I think that we thought was a little bit cooler, that we could add some value here and there. And so that's where we sort of come up with it. And we said, yeah, sweet, come on then, let's go. Started up 4 Point. We all started getting a big collection. We all got D-pads into cards, learning about pretty much almost everything you could.
Yeah.
And then started up 4 Point and started doing all these breaks and all these other things. And one thing led to another. And now we're at this studio here. It's a pretty cool setup. Got like a little podcast set up over there, like a little studio here. We do our breaks over there. And we got like a lot of things in there, like a hangout, do our mail and all that stuff. So it's like a pretty cool setup. I think me and Rome sort of like, we do a lot of the mail stuff, and we sort of look after those sort of lanes, talking to people. Pappy's got his lane, crunching numbers, buying products, all that stuff, and Sandor's sort of the guy that just gets everything going. I reckon he's the one that sort of gets all the jobs done. He's just gets the job done all the time, fellas. So it's been a crazy ride so far where we are now. Like, we had to take 4 Point on the road. When we went into the bubble, that was crazy. We were just smashing brakes, doing all sorts of stuff, just working out of the bubble. We had like a relationship with the post office down in
No way.
yeah, we had a cool little system going there where we'd do drop-offs and pickups and all that sort of stuff.
Wow.
So yeah, there's a whole heap of systems that we've got going on here that run pretty well, that I feel like a lot of us have taken from. So Sandor's been in quite a few businesses and bought those sort of structures in here, and I think from being in the storm system and all that sort of stuff, you sort of know how important your job is and how important it is to execute that.
Fuck, man, that's crazy. It sounds like Paps, man. Sounds like Paps got the hardest job there, man. Crunching numbers and stuff. I don't know about you, but I'm in good with numbers. So that sounds like the real gig, man.
Loves a spreadsheet.
Oh, really? Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, we've got Reece Evans, who's helping us out a bit. He's sort of taking the load off shoulders, but he's a workhorse and he does a lot of that work now. And we sort of got into it through cards, and that's the sort of angle we're going, talking about sort of American sports. And we also break some NRL cards as well, which is pretty cool. I think that's sort of what stands us out is we all play, and for fans, it's good access to be able to break cards with us. So that's sort of the cool part of it. And then we're sort of trying to transition into doing a few podcasts here in the studio and just talking all things throughout the week, and not really footy, but just things around it, and people can tune in if they want to. But we've clipped up a couple of potties so far, and just testing it out. But that'll be coming soon too. So exciting.
Watch this space, man. One of the things that I love about, actually, and if you go on the Instagram page of 4 Point Collectibles, everyone listening, is pretty much like you guys like share the content whilst you're opening stuff up. When you kind of created the business, were you guys already kind of doing that stuff before and then getting the feedback and you're like, fuck, we've got to do this? Or because I feel like the way you've integrated content and like those live sort of elements of what you guys are doing is kind of like, for me as someone on the outside, is what I enjoy about that business as much as, obviously the trading aspect.
Yeah, that seems to be the driver for everything we do, bro. Like, just trying to give access, the dream was always, we knew that we had to combine content with what is entertaining, which is the card breaks and what we were entertained by. So that's always been at the forefront. We've always tried to do some cool stuff like market drops. We've made a heap of like what I think is pretty cool content along the way. Like, we've had some fun. So that's always been the big driver. But yeah, access, like Australian sport, it's quite limited. I think there's some constraints from the media, and just the general perception is like, there's not a lot of outgoing personalities because that generally gets shut down. It's not like the typical American model. So that's all we're trying to do, is just like give access, be a part of the community, have some fun along the way. And that seems to be the driver for, 4 Point, even the Dead Diamond Society. But to touch on what the boys said, cards got us into this. Cards are something we're passionate about and love. But if we can pivot a little bit into the digital space, but then also create something cool that's entertaining, using the clubhouse to say an example, then that's kind of where we want to shift to and cover all bases. We've got a cool little announcement coming up too, a little addition to 4 Point, but it's good fun. The boy, it's a challenge as well to speak from a business perspective. No one involved. It's not their sole priority business. The boys are playing footy for the Melbourne Storm. It's full time. They're all on big cash. Kenny's getting paid in crypto next year.
There we go. I love that.
I'm doing my best, but it's something that, and I think we're on that journey. But for the boys, especially right now, to have interest in business and then be successfully dabbling in business in parallel to their career is really cool. We just need to try and integrate as much as possible. But, COVID's been a challenge as well.
Yeah, I can imagine. I'm going to throw this first question to Paps, and the only reason is because of his bio on Instagram, which you might find funny. But before we jump into the NFT space, like obviously to be a part of that space, it comes back to cryptocurrency And a lot of people, obviously, that space was there before the NFT space came that we all know. Perhaps for you, what sort of got you into crypto? And the reason why I ask you first is because I don't know if it's related, but your bio's like paps.eth. And I'm like, that's the shit, bro. This guy. You see where that guy's head's at?
He got you. He must be an expert.
So, that's my wallet address. So if you got anything you want to send over.
Mate, OpenSea's getting robbed at times, so I'm going to try to hide it all.
No, probably Kenny, to be honest.
Kenny, bro, the brains.
The whale.
Wow, there we go.
Call him Magic Man.
The dolphin.
The Magic Man, that's his nickname. So, and that's how I got into it, and sort of just dabbled here and there, and a bit of fun. Like researching new things, and I like the potential for it to grow and be big in the future. So I thought the more I learned now early, I could sort of educate, but then also get in on it and be able to share my experiences and help people along the way. So, Kenny's probably a big person to sort of follow and see what he does. But I've still got heaps to learn. I by no means am, I don't know the word for it, but I'm not an expert.
Yeah.
So, I'm not an expert on crypto. I make mistakes like everyone will as they join, but I think as long as you have someone who's sort of a mentor or can sort of guide you down the right path, I think that's sort of all you need. And then it's up to you to sort of experience a bad crypto experience or a bad NFT, and then you make your own judgments off that. But I think Kenny's probably the man to speak to about how he got into it.
Oh, Kenny, come on, man. He set you up beautifully there. You're going to have to tell us.
I think back into like 2019, I was doing a little bit of reading, just trying to figure out how I could spend my money a little bit wiser and looking for other opportunities. I was reading that Rich Dad Poor Dad book, and I was like, oh yeah, well, what can I do now? Like, what are some opportunities? I have I've got a couple mortgages, and then some other little things going on the side, and I was really into I had a mate that was into crypto, and I was just like really interested by it. And I was like, oh, sweet. So I reached out to him, and he sort of like put me on the track about researching like what Bitcoin is, what blockchain technology is, how to store it safely, all that sort of stuff in it. And I started doing all that stuff back into 2019. But then when cards come along, I sort of like, I jumped back into the cards.
Yeah.
And then I was sort of just doing a bit of both, but I was more into cards. And then when things went crazy, 2020 when COVID hit and crypto went parabolic pretty much, I sort of started focusing more attention there into why it was doing what it was doing. And then you sort of, when I started digging more and more, I started getting more conviction in like blockchain technology, what Bitcoin is about, learning about the history of money and why inflation is bad and why that can be hedged by Bitcoin and all that sort of stuff. So I started, just looking into it like that, and then started getting that conviction where I sort of just allocated X amount of dollars I can each pay, and then just put it in there and let it do its thing.
Bro, it sounds like Storm not just losing a player, like we're losing the CFO or something here, man. He's got the finance shut down fat, bro. Just start investing the club's assets, man, into ETH and whatnot. But
that's all they had to do, bro, was offer him that big contract on Bitcoin.
Yeah, that's it. Now, look, this is going to test me, but I absolutely love the NFT space. And the reason why I started there with crypto for those listening, and obviously this is a foreign space for some of the listeners, so there's going to be an element of education here, but also an element of amazement at what these boys have done. And the NFT space is essentially reliant on, purchasing those NFTs, whatever they may be, via cryptocurrency. So a lot of people get started in crypto. They buy this sort of digital money of all the different trends and technologies that have their really cool features. But there's a couple of those that are required to purchase these NFTs. And for the NFT space, for those listening, they're non-fungible tokens that are digital assets. And the word blockchain gets thrown around. I'm not going to explain it because I do not know it. But essentially, those digital assets live on a blockchain. And why that's becoming valuable in this world is because it's encrypted. So when you purchase these assets, which range from art, music, now it's like digital real estate in the sandbox and so forth. No one can replicate that or copy it. Like, you are the sole owner. And why that's valuable, because if you think of, like, for instance, like the Mona Lisa, I could get a blown up photo of the Mona Lisa and have it on my wall. No one will believe me that it's real, because obviously they know the Mona Lisa. But hypothetically, not everyone has a trained eye to understand whether that's the real painting or not. With an NFT, you can literally 7-8 seconds, you can find out if that's the person's the real owner, because you can just find their user ID and it's encrypted on the blockchain. So stay with me, folks, right? So there's a whole range of cool NFTs that are rising in value. The space is fucking crazy at the moment in terms of what people are doing and how they go on it. And before we touch on DDS, the Dead Diamond Society, like, can I just get some general comments from you guys? Sandor, I'll start with you. Like, the NFT space, man, like, what do you make of it? Because it is a whole new world and it is just going crazy at the moment, isn't it?
Yes, it's the digital Wild West at the moment. It's a crazy space. There's not a lot of regulation, obviously, so people are just trying to figure it out. I mean, how did I get into the space? I'm interested in NFTs, interested in crypto, not deep dive, but I'm interested. So I start following a few pages, and realistically, what got me in was a financial hook. So I was saying, such and such bought NFT, and it was obviously some little pixelated character for $200. Now, 3 weeks later, it's 35,000. I've seen about 10 of them. I was like, oh, mate, I'm over this. I've got to get involved. Like, I've got to buy one. It's just crazy. That led me into what was, how can NFTs be used? So currently, most people's perspective or perception of is an art-based or character-based token. They buy it. They think it looks cool. It might have some utility attached. Maybe that's what gets you in, but you just kind of like, could I 2x, 5x, 10x my investment? I don't want to miss out, FOMO. You know what I mean? So that's generally it. We were looking at something originally that was like a little bit left field. We were like, how do we bring together what's front of mind for us? Community, access, culture. So finding out what we'll go into, which is a DAO, which is a decentralized autonomous organization, that was the pathway that we all felt comfortable that we could give real value, real access, and build something really special. That wasn't going to be involved in what could potentially be the bubble bursting, because it's not just based around art and resale value. So that's a little summary.
Mate, it's crazy. And boys, Rome, Kenny, and Paps, like, for you guys, separate from your sort of own NFT that we're going to touch on, like, what have you guys seen before you kind of tapped into this space? Have you guys been looking at it? Have you been as amazed as I have? And obviously, the door just explained the wild, wild west of the digital world.
Yeah, I first heard about NFTs. I was trading some card with some dude. I was doing a trade. I met up with him at McDonald's and Bentley.
We're gonna clip that.
It was a trade. I gave him a card. He said me like crypto, and it was like we just sat there and just chatted about heaps of things. And he spoke to me. He was like, "Oh yeah, bro." Like, he was an early investor in the crypto space, and he said, "Oh, bro, by the way, I've just bought 2 crypto punks." And I was like, "Oh, what are crypto punks?" Yeah, bro. And then he told me exactly what they were. The first NFT, told me the whole like background of it when we were just sitting there having a chat. And that's when I sort of was like, bro, what's going on here? And then I started looking into a few things. And then
Did you buy one?
Nah, no way, nah.
Wait, so just let me clarify before you go on here, Kenny. So you were at a Macca's in Bentley and you've met some guy and he said he's just bought some CryptoPunks.
Yeah.
Bro, what is going on in this world, man? For those listening, CryptoPunks and Bored Apes are probably the 2 mainstream ones across media that have just gone like ballistic, right? Like from blue chip NFTs to like these are worth $500,000 up towards like $3-4 million, even some of them. Jay-Z even has a CryptoPunk as like his Twitter profile. So that's why I'm amazed by Kenny's story. So sorry, man, to interrupt, but please continue.
Yeah. So at that point, I think if I bought one at that point, would have been close to my whole portfolio at that time, which was a while ago. So I was like, nah, I'm not doing that. But then
no way.
I did a little bit of research and I was like, oh yeah, and I didn't really understand. I was like, well, these pictures are going for this much. I was just like, oh yeah. So I left it. And then by the time I went back to have a look at some of the things I was looking into when I was doing the research, they had gone parabolic again. Like the Bored Apes, they were cheap as at that time, and then they took off. And then at that point, I was thinking, oh well, nah, they've had their run. I'm not going to touch that now and then those went crazy. But I think the thing, and then from after that, I started diving in and buying a few projects, and I didn't really know as much as I should have when I first jumped in, but by just jumping in, I learned so much. I went in there, figured out how to use all the Discords, all the community side of it, and I just learned so much. And I just thought, if we were ever gonna come up with something, I knew sort of what I felt comfortable with trying to bring out to people. I didn't want to give something that I thought was like a cash grab or something that, like Sandor said, like I didn't want it to burst and then that would be it. I wanted it to be a community. I wanted everyone to have a say in how we went, and I just wanted it to be more about giving than getting. So I was like, when Sandor and all of us boys come together with the project that we came up with, I was blown away. I was like, bro, this is it. I want to be a part of this.
Man.
I feel comfortable putting my name to this. And we just went from there, and I think Sandor probably felt the same.
Bro, it's crazy, right? So just listening to like, and for some of these people that are new to this space, like, don't get me wrong, I feel you. This sounds crazy, right? I get it, but go one better with me and just think of how crazy it is to actually think and do by creating your own NFT. Like, that is not easy by anyone's means. Like, yes, there's artwork, but the value sustained to some of the artwork and obviously some of these tokens is a huge part of the roadmap that's associated with why you would want to buy these NFTs. And these boys that I'm joined with, and there's a couple that aren't here, are crazy enough in this world to go and create their own. Dead Diamond Society, which are these pretty cool looking bloody skulls that have gone out, and they're sort of marketing around. It's been going for, I don't know how long, Dor, maybe like 2 months or 6 weeks or something.
Nah, bro. Yeah, I love that you say that. Marketing went for 2 weeks. Brother.
Wow, there you go. Cool.
But one day in crypto, or one day in NFT, as we keep saying, is 7 days in the real world.
Very true. When you're invested as much, it does feel like it's going on. But we wanted to talk about this, and we're gonna jump to maybe where it all started. But for those listening, like if you want to get on OpenSea, if you want to look at an an NFT, Dead Diamond Society, the coolest skulls they minted the other day. They're flown out the roof. They're sold out. There's a bunch of resales going on OpenSea. You can still get them at a great value. So definitely look at it. But Dor, man, take us through this process of like, who was the crazy one to think, let's do this, and then how did the group combine to make it happen?
Yeah, well, we're all inspired by Ken, as everyone's touched on. He's the magic man. When he gets onto something, he puts in the research, and Ken's awesome. So he drove all that. But we knew that we needed to transition into this digital space. I'll be honest, my own personal wants, I was like, I just want to be first in the space. I want to get in. I want to get something done. I want to be a reference point for everyone for NFTs for digital, so we can grow from there. Before everyone starts doing it, we're just following their lead. So that was my passion for it. Paps had been involved in some stuff with Zed Run. He's big into the horse racing and stuff like that. So he had a hook. So we all had something, and we all sat down and chatted about it. And we're like, we got to get in. And we dabbled with some ideas. We originally were like, we've got this clubhouse, we've got this education, we've got this entertainment stuff we want to do. Let's use NFTs as a token to create a membership and create community and access and a network. Then we went one further, and shout out to Sport Moments, who is our tech arm. They're the guys behind all this that have developed and brought this to life, which is amazing. And they're in their own right, they've got a great story about what they're trying to achieve, which is essentially the NBA Top Shot of Australia. So amazing journey they're on. So great to collaborate with them. Brought vintage mode in, and our designer Phil created, what was never the hero of the project, but ended up creating some great artwork in the skull. Something we're all proud of. Something that we would put on our.
So Phil created the skulls, did he? Was he the one
he
that?
Did, yeah.
Wow, man, that is insane.
So that was a sick plug-in. Yeah, they're cool. And then 4 Point Collectibles is just they're involved in the space, and it's us, and the boys are athletes and they hold a position of influence. So it was a perfect marriage. You know what I mean? It ended up creating something really cool, and everyone's contributed and everyone's had a say. And then it was just like, righto, this is what we're doing. The DAO concept was presented. We all knew it was a go. If you look at the roadmap, the project is just value, like it's oozing value.
Yeah.
So it's very cool. It's got a lot of substance, a lot of depth. And as I said, we don't have to rely on artwork or secondary value because we've got something with substance, something that's going to engage with everyone, allows decision-making, ownership, dividends. Like it's very cool. So that's where we ended up. 4 weeks idea to drop.
That quick.
Sold out in bro. That's one of the amazing things, you know. I suppose from a business perspective, it doesn't have a lot of framework yet, but this is now something we see as a big project for the future. And there's a lot of great shit coming. I kind of try and drop this in the Discord as much as possible without saying it, but the people who have seen the value and taken up a membership in the society, they really don't know what's to come. And I'm very excited about those prospects. But that's where we've landed. And to sell out in 10 minutes and get the marketing and get a heap of people around. I think we created more hype than we thought we did. Even little things like it's just cool, like you know, having Kyle Kuzma involved, and we built a network within a network. You know, our secret society. I'm excited about that, probably a little bit more so than most. But just bringing together a network of people and like, where can this go? What's the extensions? What can you do? That's what I'm excited about the NFT space. There's a lot of uses for this, so it's very cool, bro.
You mentioned the word Discord, and as I said, it's because there's an element of education here for some of the listeners, because I don't expect everyone who tunes in to expect to know everything. But Discord is essentially, it's almost like once you want to join the NFT community, whether that's pre-purchase or post-mint, you enter like a chat, and the word community is thrown around. But these things are insane, man. Like, I've been living in Discords for like weeks, man. It's crazy. I wanted to ask Roman Paps, because I've seen you guys been quite active in the Discord as well. For DDS, but like, why is that sort of important for you to build that community, have that communication with everyone, and I guess just your perspective on like Discord and how it's used across the NFT space?
It's pretty amazing actually. We've got some just straight off the bat, like we hop in the chat every now and then, but we've got some seriously amazing moderators in the chat, and they are on there 24/7. Great people, always know how to start a conversation, open up all these different channels, answer questions. But when I say 24/7, I mean it. I'll wake up in the morning and they've been grinding all night, answering questions, helping people out. So we just hop in and do our little bit here and there. But we've got a pretty amazing community at the moment, and it sort of happened by chance that we stumbled across these moderators. But they've been super. And that's what it's all about, just keeping that vibe up and seeing what this is really all about. And at the end of the day, if everyone believes in it, then you're generally going to get something pretty good. So we'll do what we can from our end, and from 4Point and all the other businesses involved, just got to play their part. And those guys in the chat just do that as well. They're unbelievable. It's pretty crazy, like, especially sort of past few days around the launch time.
Yeah, I can imagine that was a crazy period for you guys. Hey, all the questions and queries, like, to manage that, that's like a job in itself. Hey,
just to manage sort of different personalities and people who are stressed. Just being able to manage that and sort of see them take it on, it's pretty cool to see. And I guess that's probably the sort of culture we want in Dead Diamond Society. And the foundation's there now, so we've just got to keep that up.
Awesome. Rome, I wanted to ask you, just because we had the mint date, and I think, Dor, you put up like 15 minutes, it was sold out, which is crazy. Like,
it's so cool.
Rome, for you, did you expect it to sell out as quick? Did you, like, the feeling after it for you boys, like, what the hell was that like? Was that just like a moment of like, wow, we did this so quickly and we made something cool happen?
I didn't really. It was sort of unknown for me, obviously. Like, haven't done this before. I guess none of us have, especially 4Point lads. So I didn't know what to expect. I didn't know if it was going to even sell out or what the go was. Like, we had confidence in what we had was awesome, and it's a great opportunity. But you never know what's going to happen. And when we went live and it just took off, it was crazy. Like, I was buzzing. I was like, I was messaging the boys like, this is crazy. How good is this? Like, jumped in the Discord, just seeing how much people were pumped up about it and seeing the community go off. It was just yeah, it was awesome, and yeah, I didn't expect it, but it's awesome that it happened, and it just makes me, so excited for everyone in this community for what's to come, and it's exciting.
I had a really funny story about so I was out playing golf at the time, and I'm the same as Rome. I was like, we believe in the project. We don't know how long it's going to sell out. Anyway, it sort of rolled around. It was like 5:55, and I was about to tee off. And I remember teeing off, and the boys were like, "Make sure on the Discord, let's see how this goes," sort of thing. And I was like, "Oh, I probably won't be on. I'm probably walking down the fairway." Anyway, I remember it was like 6:65. Finished the hole takes 15 minutes or something like that. So just hopped off the hole, checked my phone again, and there was like 100 messages, and the boys were like, "Oh, how good is this?" It's G'd up, this can't be serious. And then that's how I found out. So I checked, and then.
Did you think they were joking at that time? Do you think it was a piss take, or were you?
Yeah, I was like, because I didn't really know what to expect, and I was like, "Oh." It didn't really hit, and then it was like we all FaceTimed each other, and we're like, "Oh, how good is this?" Right. And then that's when it was like, "Shit."
That's crazy.
It's cool to sell out, but now it's like next job sort of thing, and that's probably the way we've sort of been brought up, and especially in our career so far is like, don't be satisfied with what you've done. Like now it's next job, and being able to provide value and provide a community that's going to build people up. So it's pretty amazing, the initial sellout, but now it's sort of heads down and they get to work.
Because it's true. When you mentioned that, and I imagine the feeling would have been like elation, but also like you see the NFT space a lot mint, and then it's sort of like the value, and it really folds on the roadmap in the community to like drive the value and keep it going and keep people wanting to be like, I need to get in on that. So that's crazy that you guys are already thinking like that. I watched this clip the other day of Floyd Mayweather, and he said this thing because he used to be called Floyd Pretty Boy Mayweather, and he said, as soon as I changed my name to Floyd Money Mayweather, I started making money. And so now I'm starting to call this the money podcast because, like, hell, we want to get some money in here. But, hey, you boys made some shmoney, man. Like, let's be real. And I don't want to talk figures and stuff like that. But what I will ask is, like, the NRL Rose put up a post the other day or yesterday. Are those figures accurate? Like, was that fabricated, or is that shit real, man? Because if that shit's real, holy shit.
I think it's a little bit fabricated because I think it definitely wasn't that much, and a lot of the funds that come up that were made from the mint, a lot of it is going back into the community. We're buying a lot of assets.
We look at the roadmap.
Yeah, of course.
The roadmap,
it's expensive.
The roadmap and all the tech and all that stuff, it all costs money to get it all sorted, and then the assets that we want to provide for the community, and then everything else, it all comes, it all costs. So a lot of that money is going back in. That number is probably a bit wrong, but
yeah, okay.
Yeah,
I think the true satisfaction for me was, I know Dawes spoke about it took 4 weeks from the idea to come to life, but we took almost like probably 8-9 months before that trying to come up with a project, but we were never comfortable with what was coming up.
Okay.
So there was a lot of knocking, there was a lot of research, there was a lot of going back and forth with heaps of different people, but none of them we were sort of comfortable with doing.
Yeah.
So when we come up with what we were doing and we all thought it was a good idea, I think the most satisfying thing for me was getting people come into our community and realize this is a good roadmap. I like this community. I like what they're doing. They're putting back into this. I get it. And then you get new people coming in, and I think they think that this is the standard of what a roadmap or something should be like.
Yeah.
Based around the DAO should be like. And they're like, well, so when they see something that's just a piece of art that's getting minted, they then realize, like, hey, wait, hang on, like, where's all the opportunity and utility behind
value?
Yeah,
so there was a lot of thought and then educating behind what our project is and what other projects are like. So that was probably the most satisfying thing for me. And now I think the most thing I'm excited about is rolling out with our roadmap now and getting all these decisions made as a DAO and moving forward as a community together.
Yeah, I reckon that's probably, like, Ken nailed that. I couldn't have said it any better myself, but I think the sort of angle that the past 12 months we were going with is trying to offer our utility, and being footy players, we realised that's not going to last forever. And I think where we sat really comfortable was we're actually collaborating with a few other companies that once we decide to hang the boots up, we've actually got a product afterwards that we'll be able to proud to show, and it's not about being part of a footy community or anything like that. It's about, no, we're going to provide value, we're going to do this, we're going to do that, and hopefully be a long-term sort of project, I guess you'd call it, but probably a long-term community rather than just being limited amount of time.
Man, that's amazing. This is going to be big. I actually wanted to ask just quickly, who's the biggest basketball fan out of you four? Like who would you say? Rome? All right, we got to touch on Kuzma, like because like at what
perfect.
Yeah,
he's a Wizards fan.
Yeah, are you a Wizards fan too? Were you a Wizards fan pre-Kuzma?
Yeah.
Bro, that's weird, man. How do you?
So we had, we actually had dinner with him a couple of years ago, and I told him I was a Wizards fan, and he got it done. So.
Bro, yeah, you're the trade man. Man, you're going to turn to, what's his name, Adam Schefter or whatever, he's calling out all those trades. That's crazy. But for you guys, like, obviously, you've got a great network in the NRL. We've obviously seen Cheese and Munster that, promoted it, and that's big. But, like, having Kuzma, like, involved, was that another moment of, like, holy shit, again?
I think it's a credit to the Our Group. So
of course, I
Our
thought it
Group
would be
has
them.
they've worked with Kobe in the past. They've worked with Shaq. They brought Tatum, Kuzma down. So I think it's just a credit to how many good relationships they have in their network that we have access to now through the Dead Diamond Society. That's the thing that I was really happy about. That it was pretty cruisy with how it all happened. I mean, we've had Zooms with them in the past about like 4-point and all that sort of stuff. We had dinner with him, me and Jerome, with him and Tatum at one point with the Our Group, and then now we got to collab with them on this. So that was a really the whole process has been a buzz, and I think moving forward, I think there's some bigger and better things on way too.
Awesome, man.
Yeah, the Our Group are a big part of this, and like they just share such a passion and commitment to building a network and seeing the value of that. So to align with them's been unbelievable.
Dor, before I sign off, I just wanted to give you the floor, because I think one of the goals of this podcast was to make people aware of the NFT space, make people aware of the great stuff you were doing. But for those listening that are like, they're interested in going in the NFT space, can you just give them some insight into maybe, why jumping on the Dead Diamond Society would be, a great first NFT, and what they can expect? Because obviously they've heard the people behind it, which is great, so they understand you guys. But maybe just to give them some incentive of like why they should come on board, why they should get on OpenSea and purchase their first NFT.
Yeah, for sure, bro. I probably see it as like 3 pillars, and each of the pillar will be appealing to different people. So first and foremost, the words access and community. What we wanted to build was start to change your perception first and foremost. When you think NFTs, don't get caught up in what's being posted and marketed on social media. Take yourself away from the art and the character-based tokens and look at what could a non-fungible token and the blockchain be used for. So for us, it was like, we want to create a society, a club, a membership where people can be a part of something. And innately, that's all in us. We want to be a part of something. We're lucky that we have some people of influence, some people that are involved in professional sport that people want to be around, people want access to. They want to get to know these people, their personality, who they really are. So that was a good hook for us. And I want to build and develop access and a network of athletes and people people are artists, people in business, people in crypto, and bring all these people together, and then have anyone who's anyone in our society have access and be able to talk shop and learn and better themselves and have a good time. So first and foremost, that's what the Society Foundation is. It's building that and having something really cool. Secondly, there's a financial opportunity, and we've identified some really cool projects in our roadmap. The next thing we're going to do in the next couple of days is chase the holy grail, the big dog, the Bored Ape. So we're going to go after that.
Yes,
the
baby.
DAO, our society. Yeah, it's going to be fun. The society is going to get to make a decision. That's the great part of being an owner in this. You get decision making, ownership capabilities. So we'll select that. following on from that, we've got a great plug-in with Vintage Mode, and all of our society members will be rocking their oversized kit with their Bored Ape. Like, that's going to be really cool, So, and then it's just to flow on from there. The Zed Run horse and having a race day. Like, how cool is that going to be? Buying land in the Sandbox Metaverse and eventually building our society clubhouse. And then obviously it's a little bit more in depth, but on the surface, Gala Node mining token that will provide token dividend opportunities for everyone who's involved, and give us the ability to then look at other projects that we want to buy into, that are on the come up. So it's constant engagement. It's awesome to have that education and the ability to not only increase the value of the token, but be a part of acquiring different projects and stuff like that. So those are the main things. That's a big part of the Dead Diamond Society. And lastly, being an OG founder, part of this startup, an early adopter, means you are going to have access and enjoy all the fruits of our labor that is to come. And we've got some pretty awesome stuff on way in collaboration with everyone who's involved. So, mate, if those 3 pillars don't get you hooked,
I'll go one better as well, because I know I'm talking about it, but I've minted 2 skulls, so
hey, my man.
I'm on board the DDS train, and I'll tell you why. And this is not to piss in your guys' pocket at all, because I wouldn't invest my money lightly. But when I look at the NFT space, look at 3 things. One for me is if I actually just genuinely like the artwork and stuff like that, because at the end of the day, if it's something I want to have, I want it to look good, I want to like it myself. The other is the roadmap, because the roadmap kind of incentivizes value and how cool, if I own this, what's that going to bring me? What sort of opportunities is that going to bring me? What sort of return on my investment am I going to get? And then thirdly, for me, and a big one, is the people behind it. And like, I haven't met Rome, Kenny and Paps before, but just hearing you guys and obviously the Door talk about this, like, I feel very confident in the investment, and just the passion you guys have for it to like not stop once it's minted is pretty awesome, man. So as a thank you for coming on my show, our good partners at Rick's Eyewear. No one's coming on the Unlaced podcast empty-handed this year. And I don't know if you guys know Rick's Eyewear, but they are a boutique luxury sunglass brand built in Australia. They've had the likes of OBJ and Emily Radikowski rock them. It's pretty cool. Usually in person, we'd give them to you physically, but I'm going to send you a link to pass on to the boys, and we're going to give you guys a pair of sunnies as a thank you for coming on and talking about DDS. So
oh, man.
For those that are tuning in, rickseyewear.com.au, discount code is unlaced. We had it on last year. It did really well. So get on there, get some really good sunnies. But for the boys, man, I can't thank you enough for coming on and opening the first show of the year with a big bang.
Legend, bro. Thanks for having us, bro. It's been awesome.
All good, man. Well, best of luck for the year,
You're
boys.
legend,
And Door,
man. It's
man.
gonna be fun.
Awesome, man. Can't wait. Let's rock the DDS Society, no doubt.
Let's go.
Cool. All right, done.
Oh, man.
boys.
Cheers.